Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. Am I audible? Thanks, yeah. So, welcome everyone to today's webinar. Today we are having the most awaited event of DataFest 2017. My name is Deepika Singhal and I'm managing the community efforts at Analytics Vidya. Analytics Vidya, as you know, is one of the leading data science communities across the globe. Thank you for joining us for this session. And as I told you, it's one of the most exciting events and webinars because today we have with us Mr. Srikanth Velamakanni from Fractal Analytics. And he's going to join us for the session on the end of linearity. And in this webinar, you'll understand how the AI revolution is transforming our daily lives. This keynote is happening as a part of DataFest 2017. DataFest 2017 has been running since 1st of April, and this is the last week of DataFest wherein we have a lot of events coming up, and there are a lot of opportunities you would get to rank up on the leaderboard. So don't miss out on the upcoming events that we have. The skill test, machine learning skill test, and the other being the 6 hours mini hack. Also, we have rupees 1,80,000 up for grab this DataFest on this leaderboard. So, coming to the session, I'd like to introduce Mr. Srikanth Velamakanni, and he's one of the best people in analytics industry we know of. He's a passionate analytics professional, which makes him a thought leader in analytics industry, an active public speaker. Okay, so is my voice breaking? Am I clear now? Okay, thank you. So he's an active public speaker and an analytics evangelist. It's a real pleasure to have him here. Srikanth Velamakanni, for over the last 16 years, has been a thought partner to global corporations in the consumer packaged goods, retail, financial services, and technology industries. And he has helped all these industries embrace analytics and made it their competitive differentiator. He has been institutionalizing analytics and is committed to making data-driven decisions in his way of life. We have deep respect for him and as a professional and as a person. Currently, Mr. Srikanth Velamakanni is the co-founder, group chief executive, and executive vice chairman of Fractal Analytics, which is one of the most respected pure-play analytics companies across the globe. He also co-chairs the NASSCOM BPM Council. He holds an MBA degree from IIM and the BS degree from bachelor's degree from IIT Delhi. He founded Fractal Analytics in the year 2000. So I'll just put him up as a panelist. Srikanth, I might have to unmute you again.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. Hi, Srikanth. Welcome to the webinar and the keynote session that you're taking. So,
Hi there.
So before we hand over the session to you, I would like to have a quick poll on the audience. So we have the poll launched. You can just fill in your answers here. Just vote. So what is your current profile? How many years of experience do you have in analytics or data science? Which country do you belong to? And are you interested in deep learning and artificial intelligence? Few more seconds and I'll be sharing the results. So for those who haven't voted yet, please do. 80% voted. Few more seconds to go. I'll be sharing the results now. So you can see the results. We have like more of students and like about 57% students in the webinar. Then experience-wise also there are 25% of the audience is less than 3 years experience and also students and freshers. Okay, a lot of audience from India and we have some audience from outside India as well. And 98% of the audience is interested in deep learning and artificial intelligence. This is a perfect webinar for you to be on. So, guys, one announcement. Just stick us with the till the end, so that we need to make some few important announcements in the end. And Kunal also will be joining us. So now I can hand over the session to you, Srikanth. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm going to walk you through a little bit of short talk on what I will call the end of linearity. Let me start with a story. Long time ago, there was a king's court, and a mathematician invented this game of chess for the king. And king was very delighted to hear about this invention, and he loved it. And so he asked him, what would he like as a reward? And the mathematician said, I'm a man of simple needs. Just give me 1 grain of rice for first square of the chessboard and double it from there onwards. And so the king wasn't very impressed. He thought this was a very small ask from the mathematician. But then after a few days, he started realizing that the ask was not that small after all. After the first 32 days, that amount turned out to be about 100 tons of rice, a lot of rice, a lot of grains. But, okay, the king could afford it. But imagine if that from 32 days, it had gone all the way up to 64 days. What would have happened? I'll take a pause for you to think of what might have happened, how high that number would be. And here's the answer. 429 billion tons, or roughly 5 times the annual production of grain in the world today. The moral of this story is that we as human beings really struggle to understand exponential trends. When things grow exponentially, for the first half of the chessboard, things look interesting, but we don't really have a clue how big the numbers could get as we go along in that direction. We are in the middle of such an exponential trend. The world of AI and analytics has been firmly in the first half of the chessboard for the last many years, but just in the last couple of years, we're beginning to see that it has moved into the second half of the chessboard. And things are getting really, really interesting. So much so that today we believe that a whole host of things that humans thought only human beings can do, we're now starting to think that AI could do and even do better than human beings. Now let's look at what does a human being do that an AI is aspiring to replicate. First, on the left is perception, right? This is about, we see, we understand natural language, we sense from all our 5 senses. So that's the perception. Can computers with their sensors, with their image processing capability, natural language processing capability, understand and perceive what is coming in, first of all. Second is to process that information. Can we understand the world as input data is coming in? Can we put them and organize that data? Like Google says, organize the world's information. Can we really represent that knowledge? Can we make inferences, and can we plan for the long term? That is all about processing. And the next is, can we act on this information? We can make some decisions. We can speak or manipulate and move objects. That's around in the area of acting. And finally, and the most importantly, we can receive feedback and learn, and use that learning to perceive better, to process better, to build more intelligence and get better over time. That's really what a human being is doing. And in each of these four distinct areas and their subfields, AI is showing so much promise that it feels like in the next few years we may have artificial general intelligence, or a machine that's as good as human on everything. And when that happens, truly, it will be exponential from there. It'll explode from there. That's the kind of world that's actually we believe is really possible. There are so many people like Elon Musk and Bill Gates and Stephen Hawking who's saying that the world, as we know, might come to an end, or we might put into grave danger because such an algorithm could be so dangerous that it could just wipe out humanity just in the process of optimizing something really silly and small. But that's the kind of danger that exists. So today we believe that AI could be that transformational. Let's see a few examples of where this is working. Microsoft and one researcher from Microsoft called Shaib Sheikh, who turned blind at the age of 7, created this system called Seeing AI, which, if you give it a picture, you can take a picture with your glasses, and then once you click a picture, it'll actually describe what's happening in the scene. For example, you can say it's a man jumping in the air doing a trick on a skateboard. That's something that's been generated directly from AI. So it sees the picture, it understands all the objects, represents them, and then generates natural language to actually describe what's going on, and therefore helps visually impaired people in navigating the world. Fascinating. Right? Let's look at a second example. And this time I'm going to take an example, Fractal example. Recently, we worked with a big European defense contractor. And one of our objectives was to see if we can, from the live feed, the video camera feed coming from buildings. This is a defense contractor who's interested in security of buildings and airports and so on. Imagine the kind of fear that we have around airport security these days, right? The idea is to monitor feeds in real time, and using access card information and information coming from the webcam, from the closed circuit camera, whether an intruder has entered, whether there's any security violation anywhere, any suspicious activity taking place in real time. To look at that and alert, and so that we can take action on it. Fascinating example. And this was something that was not possible a few years ago. It was completely manual. People, basically sitting and monitoring these feeds. Now it can be automated. Another great example of actually processing this information is Audrey. Audrey is a system that NASA has developed in partnership with other government agencies in the US. The idea is for firefighters. When firefighters go into
Srikanth, sorry to interrupt. I guess there is some voice breaking at your end.
Okay. What would you like me to do?
It's not audible properly. There's some disturbance coming.
Right.
I think it's clear now.
It's clear now?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Okay. So the idea behind Audrey is that it is when firefighters enter buildings, they are facing some tremendous security, some tremendous hazards. There could be fire somewhere. Certainly there's fire somewhere, but there could be some poisonous chemicals and gases coming out from somewhere. Some places could be too hot. So the idea is that these firefighters wear all kinds of sensors on their body, and using the data that's coming from these sensors, Audrey figures out what's going on. It can detect an abnormality, which can say which part of the building is not appropriate. how to navigate through this entire building and where human beings might be and save them. The entire decision support system is AI driven and is helping these firefighters in real time in navigating such a difficult situation in real time, actually saving lives. A fascinating example again of how AI is showing some tremendous potential. I'm sure some of you have heard of Amazon Go. Amazon Go is attempting to basically create what they call as a just walkout shopping experience. The idea is when you walk into the store, this Amazon physical store, not a virtual store, you walk into a physical store, you essentially open your app, and then you pick products that you like, put them in your bag, and just walk out. Amazon will figure out who you are because it understands you as a customer. It figures out exactly what you bought and actually will charge your credit card automatically. Fascinating example again. And there are some real bottlenecks right now. It's still not gone live, so there's some glitches that they have encountered. But again, as and when it goes live, it's going to be an amazing experience of how AI not only can tremendously improve customer experience, but also potentially threaten a lot of jobs. Think of all the retail store associates who must be fearing the loss of jobs once this kind of technology becomes prevalent everywhere. Let's talk of a specific practical example in a similar way. This is an insurance example, and think in an insurance industry, uh, one of the most important challenges for them is to understand and process claims. An insurance company gets, if it makes $100 of policy revenues or premiums, they might end up paying $96 or more in expenses, claims expenses. And the idea is to manage these claims expenses better. And one way of doing that is to see which claims to litigate, meaning I'm going to not pay because I think it's not a genuine claim and therefore I'm not going to go to court. Which claims to quickly settle, which claims to subrogate. And subrogation means I find another party who may be responsible for that. For example, a house got on fire, and you can say the nearby restaurant actually had a fire, so actually the person who should pay for the loss is actually the restaurant's insurance provider and not you. Those are the kinds of decisions insurance companies make. And here, when we built a model with just structured data using traditional techniques, we had an accuracy of 68%, which is pretty good in this scheme of things. It saves millions of dollars for the insurance company. Then we brought in unstructured data, and this was basically notes from the adjuster, the person who goes to actually validate the claim. He or she makes a bunch of different notes in text, usually sometimes handwritten text, sometimes typewritten text, but they make notes. And using those notes, if we were to predict and take the right action in terms of what to do with the claim, the accuracy there was 55%, somewhat less than structured data. But the real magic comes when you combine the two. When you combine the two, the accuracy improves substantially, so much that it can make tens of millions of dollars, maybe hundreds of millions of dollars of difference. Because when you bring in a new data source, you're adding a new source. You're seeing that AI is actually helping us bring in new signals when they didn't exist. Because we are now able to process the kind of data we were never able to process before. Images, audio, text, video, and all kinds of other concepts. Another example now we first discussed perception, we discussed processing, and now let's discuss decision. Right? In case of this is a real pharmacy in San Francisco. In this pharmacy, which is run by UCSF, University of California, San Francisco Medical Hospital, they had a situation back in 2009 when a patient died because wrong medication was prescribed to them. And at that time, they decided that they'll create an AI so that they don't have any errors in prescribing and giving and delivering the right medicine to the right patient. So they created this system, which went live in 2011. It has delivered millions of prescriptions so far. Identified reading the prescription right, identifying the drug right and giving it the right dosage, right quantity, uh, and giving it to the customer without a single error. In the US, 7,000 people, it's estimated that 7,000 people die every day because of medication errors. Imagine if this kind of technology could be there everywhere, how many lives could be. This is how decisions could be better. And let's see another example of that. Today, if you look at, there is such a restaurant where the waiters essentially have been replaced by these robots who are making all kinds of decisions exactly who to serve, what type to serve, what dishes to serve at home, and they're actually moving and manipulating objects in space as well. So in many number of different cases, if you heard for the last 10 minutes what I've been saying, you can see that AI is beginning to really compete with humans in terms of its capability to do all the activities. Um, an example that we have used in Fractal case is when we have recently worked with a large financial services company. This is actually an asset management firm. Think of them as one of the largest mutual fund providers in the world. Right? They have about $750 billion of assets. And one of the things that we did for them is they have advisors. Uh, they have advisors who eventually recommend the right fund product to the individual customer. And this company has a sales force. The sales force needs to have the right kind of conversations with the financial advisors so that they can make sure that the right mutual fund products are eventually sold to the right customers. And for that, we want to understand the financial advisors better and make sure that we give them the right message and help them in selling more mutual funds to end customers. And we deployed Fractal's customer genomics AI engine, and it has delivered something like $600 million of additional revenue. The customer genomics engine essentially has several proprietary algorithms, including deep learning algorithms, that help you recommend the right product to the right customer, and even the right messaging and the right channel, and so on. And that has been instrumental. And this is the kind of genome that we created. The advisors are all rated in terms of these number of different dimensions. Based on these dimensions, unique which they've identified, and then we also know which channel they prefer. So great examples of where AI is beginning to make a big difference in our lives. The last example I have on this is what we call is a Hong Kong-based firm. They have decided that AI is so critical. AI is so useful for them that they've created AI in the boardroom. If they really have a boardroom, and this picture is not from that, we just created this picture for your visual delight, but this is not the real picture. But they have a AI in the boardroom that actually has an independent board in all their investment decisions. They actually invest in life sciences companies, and this AI has one vote as in equally with all other human beings in the boardroom. So AI is actually becoming even entering the boardroom. That's the world we are shaping. So you might kind of start to believe that maybe this is going a bit too fast. Maybe we will all lose our jobs, right? So that's you know that's the kind of fear that I think most of us have. Now I'm going to skip this example. The kind of at least what we see from our experience is that algorithms are likely to drive a lot of the decision making because today, if you look at around the world, more than 50% of decisions, more than half the decisions, are driven completely by gut and experience. No data is playing a role there. It's human beings and their experience, they're making decisions. There are some decisions that are modeled back human decisions. There's data playing the role, but human beings ultimately decide. And very few decisions, just 5% according to our research, that are totally algorithmic. And we believe that the next 10 years, that reality should change. And we believe only 10% of those decisions, only 10% of decisions, down from 58%, should be purely experience back information. And rest of the decision will be a judicious mix of model back and purely algorithmic. That's the kind of world that we are leading to. And that is not only exciting from a data scientist perspective, uh, and even from a science perspective, but it's very scary from the perspective of us as human beings, because we are all in the job world. We want to make sure that we're useful. We have a job. And there's fear that this will create massive disruption for everybody. We may feel that humans don't need to apply anymore because we don't have any use to it. Not so fast. I think there is a case for humans yet, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a understanding of why human beings are still important. Sometimes algorithms don't really work. Take the example of this book called Making of a Fly. This is a book that a researcher wanted to buy. There were no copies available that were in print. Therefore, this researcher tried to try to buy this from Amazon in terms of from third-party sellers, and he saw that the price of the book had reached an astronomical sum of $18 million by one seller and $23 million by another seller. Sounds very scary. I mean, what happened really? I mean, this is not really that expensive a book. It's really $50. So what really happened here was that algorithm number one, the one you're seeing on top, actually had an algorithm saying that I want to be 99% of the price of my other bidders, other sellers on the system. There's only one other seller, and therefore their price was pegged to the other seller. The other seller had this algorithm that my price should be 127% of the other seller. You know what happens? Somebody starts with 100, the other guy goes to 99, the other guy goes to 127, the other guy goes to 126, and then soon it builds up and goes completely out of proportion and goes to be astronomical and completely stupid. Think of how algorithms, when unchecked, can go completely awry. Um, we have had a situation in the recent election times with a lot number of fake news. That these days it's become it's become really hard to distinguish real news from fake news. For example, back in Delhi, who's Fox News um, analyst, Fox News sort of host, there were articles that were absolutely fake about her and were getting published, and they were actually trending on Facebook. These are trending stories on. So you can imagine that uh, algorithms can be misused and these algorithms can go awry. Look at the example of K. K is an algorithm that Microsoft created last year. And the idea was that it was based on a very successful experiment that they were running in China, where uh, K was a bot that could basically tweet and talk to you. And she was this, sort of a 20-year-old or 20-year-old woman. That is the persona of this bot, and she would basically speak and have conversations with a number of real people. And it started out very nicely, like how you see, and within the day, it starts saying some amazingly bad things. For example, it says they're going to build a wall and Mexico is going to pay for it like that. And then she says women are inferior and all kinds of anti-Semitic and other remarks. And finally, in the same day, within 24 hours, they had to put it down. And they had to, Microsoft had to come out and apologize for this really bad experiment. So AI, I mean, while there are some amazing examples, there are a lot of examples of where AI is not yet there. It's not ready for prime time in a number of different. Another example where AI, there were places where AI was asked to create nice pictures for children, and it created extremely scary pictures where children would get actually very scared. So those are the kinds of things. So AI have done some of those things as well. So we are in a world where there is a clear need for humans and machines to work. You've heard this before, that the relationship with machines will have to be redefined. There certainly will be disruption. I fully expect that in the new AI world, whole host of jobs will be lost. Same thing happened back in the days of industrial revolution. Industrial revolution came in, the steam engine came in, and we people start feeling that okay, all of the work that they've been doing, the manual labor they were doing, will go away because we'll have mechanization, industrialization, and a lot of jobs will be lost. In fact, jobs were lost, but so many more jobs were created over the next 100 years that certainly we have the best we've had the best ever time in terms of employment in the last 50 years. But remember, while this happened and more jobs got created, it was not without its pain. There were significant times of disruption, and a generation or two were very affected by the number of losses of jobs that happened. There will be that kind of a disruption coming in, and that will create some kind of havoc unless we plan for it well. And that's what I've been doing, certainly talking to a whole host of industry players and also the government, uh, making them aware of the AI opportunity as well as the threat, so the governments can not only facilitate the growth of AI but also govern it, meaning create the right kind of rules and laws so that we can govern the rise of AI. As an example, if you have an autonomous self-driving car, we have to make sure that when that car has an accident, we know who's to be blamed. We right now don't have to loss for that. Or if that car has to make a decision whether to hit a pedestrian or to save in order to save the passenger or to hurt the passenger in order to and hurt the pedestrian instead, what it should do. These kinds of questions and laws and values have to be coded into our AI, and governments have to play a role. And then they have to also make sure that we leverage AI very well because there are a lot of needs for AI across the world, and governments are one of the biggest customers of AI. And finally, governments have to also prepare the world for AI because we have to prepare the world for the upcoming job disruption in terms of creating the right kind of educational infrastructure, training infrastructure, reskilling infrastructure, and so on. Most importantly, in my opinion, is that as AI gets the biggest opportunity, as AI gets more prevalent, is that some of our needs, on what you see on the right panel here is a Maslow hierarchy of needs, some of you might know. Uh, and Maslow, was a psychologist back in the early 30th century, had created this, what is called as Maslow hierarchy, which said we have physiological needs, basic bodily needs, then we have safety needs and safety and security needs, and then we have love and belonging needs, then we have self-respect and esteem needs. Finally, we have need to self-actualize and stress out. These are the hierarchies of needs. So if AI comes in, it is entirely possible that we may not need to work as hard to make a living. It's in fact possible, and several governments and several people are thinking about whether there will be a universal basic income so that people their basic physiological and safety needs are met without having to work. And then people will work because they want to work and because they want to actualize themselves or do it for their self-esteem and for other needs, and they will be free to do what we as humans are supremely capable of doing. We're supremely capable of being demonstrating empathy, demonstrating love, uh, bringing in not just the rational part, but the emotions in relation to systems. There are some things that we are really good at, and bringing our creativity across arts, across liberal arts. These are the kinds of areas that we all thrive in a world where AI is making sure that everything that can be automated has been automated. Our lives have been easier, have become easier because we don't have to do anything that those things are already taken care of. So there is a positive and an interesting and a very beautiful world out there which can be created. But there are also the risks that AI can come in and could be quite destructive to us. It's upon us to make sure that we not only facilitate the growth of AI and learn and actually create that. Some of you who are research oriented might already be working on algorithms that advance the science. And there's a lot that can be done here. But it's also possible that we have to cover and protect our privacy, make sure that AI is not going to this. That's the new world order that we need to create and put in place. Now, having said that, how, and all of you, and I had imagined that there will be a number of students and people who are early in their careers in this discussion. And so I have a few thoughts for what you should do in this field as you get going. And before that, I want to give you a sense for um, how to go about doing that. And the first and most important thing as you build your career is making sure that you have a full understanding of it. You call it understanding yourself. And that is critical to success. That means you must know the combination of You must choose activities that give you a combination of pleasure, meaning, and what I mean by that it should be pleasurable in its own way. You have fun. Don't do some things that are just not fun. It's just you never have fun doing that. Then job can be a really painful thing to do. It needs to have meaning. Meaning you're doing something that has a bigger purpose. And finally, it has to be an area of interest. It cannot be too easy for you. It cannot be too hard for you. It has to be in that zone where you feel challenged enough, but you're having a great time doing it. That's the kind of a career, the direction that you need to choose. And when you and importantly, you have to figure out what when you get that right, it will become your calling. It will not be a job anymore. It will not be something that where you are thinking, okay, I have to work 5 days a week, but I'm looking forward to it. It's not a career anymore where you think that okay, I have to work very hard so that I can get promotions, but really, I'm not having fun, but I need to work very hard. You will have fun, it's meaningful, and it is an area of interest. That's called a calling. Uh, you have to leverage your strengths. Your strengths are what are going to help you succeed in the long term. You can work on your weaknesses, but that will only make sure that you just sort of don't have debilitating weakness that stifles your career. But your success will be a function of your strength. Think of uh, great cricketer also Sachin Tendulkar, who was not very good at many things, but he was not good at one thing, which is cricket. He was a good sportsman in general, but he focused on cricket, and by focusing on that, he has become one of the most famous cricketers of all time, and certainly one of the most successful Indians of all time. Leveraging his strength. You also have to think of how do you learn and perform. So, uh, for example, you have to document your decision. For example, when you think of something, write it down and see whether you are right. When you look back 6 months from now, 2 months from now, think, oh, I predicted this, or I thought of this. Did it really happen? Did it really play out? Once you start documenting what you do, you have a good sense of when you are right and when you are wrong. You will have a better sense of what his real strengths are and also focus on how you learn. Some people learn by listening, some people learn by watching videos, some people learn by keep doing things and running experiments. You have to figure out what is the unique model of learning. And
Shrikant,
finally,
sorry to interrupt. Can you please? I would recommend you to come closer to the mic because the audience is not able to hear you properly.
okay, yeah, um, and I was saying that you also have to focus on your values. What is most important to you? It has to match with the values of where you're working. So these are the kinds of decisions you have to make so that you can choose the right direction for your career. In that, you have to find your sweet spot. And we believe that in the data science and analytics world and AI world, broadly, these are the four types of careers that we can have. You can be an analytics consultant on the top left, which essentially means that you're focused on problems, you're focused on applications, specific applications within industries, and you become really good at the problems. You know enough analytics to be dangerous, and you can build models, but essentially you're thinking, how do I solve business problems? That's really an analytics consultant. On the bottom left is data science. A data scientist is someone who will delve deep into the science of the data and build algorithms, will scale algorithms, will really be on the bleeding edge of data science and think with the machine learning and deep learning and even be able to write a lot of code themselves because eventually a solid data scientist must be able to code and must be able to certainly scale algorithms and even maybe write papers and so they have enough communication skills to write papers. Then on the top right, you have BI program managers, people who can understand how to make decisions implemented inside organizations. How do we make sure that uh, the human beings who are going to make some of these decisions understand and can visually see and understand? Because human beings, we are limited. We have seeing is believing, a picture is a thousand words. How do you make sure that you make it easy for people to consume analytics and make decisions with that? How do you program, manage, and implement it? How do you create visual stories so that human beings who are going to need decision support can make these decisions? Think of all the lovely products that we currently use, an iPhone or all the cool technology products that we use. Most important thing is how do they create the user experience so that it's effortless for you to do. we have to bring in such user experience thinking even to how analytics is being consumed, how visualization is consumed. And finally, on the bottom right are the big data engineers. These are the guys who are really thinking, how do I crunch data at massive scale? So if I have to scale algorithms to terabytes and petabytes and exabytes, what kind of a technology how technology stack would look like? If I have to make it real time, how should I engineer my system so that it is real time and at scale? And so these are the people who are thinking, solving problems at scale, but the technology problems at scale. If all these four things come together, that creates a truly great analytics organization or AI organization. But you have to pick which of these is your sweet spot and focus on that. And it's important that you realize early on, because that's where you want to make progress, and that will create certainly new wins for you. Now, I'm coming down to my very last few slides. Um, if I have to say one thing that's most important in this AI world, especially as we discussed, we are in the second half of the chessboard where things are getting moving really fast. Knowledge is getting obsolete. Anything that you're learning in college, by the time you get to jobs, you're thinking that okay, that's already obsolete. I need to learn new things. Therefore, it's important that you deconstruct what it means. Instead of focusing on memory, on focusing on skills, focus on learning. Focus on, you have to be in such a position that you can recombine what you have learned to learn new things. It means you have to explore, you have to experiment. You cannot just say that this is all I know, because what you know may not be required anymore. So you have to be open-minded to say, okay, I must experiment and explore. Certainly, I need to build solid, deep skills, but I need to explore and experiment and make sure that I'm open to new ideas and good thoughts. Because if I don't explore enough, I will not really grow. Uh, in terms of creating a career track, it's not about just getting the depth right or the breadth right. You have to make sure that you have a broad enough understanding of the analytics domain. For example, the four career tracks we spoke about, you have some understanding of all four so that you're good enough. And certainly you should still be able to understand clients and business problems and domains and so on, but you have to focus on one thing where you're really, really good. So that is important, because when you are very deep in a narrow area, you can understand how, even if it's changing very rapidly, you can keep pace with that. When you try to be everything to everybody, you can't keep pace with the change that's happening. And most importantly, take feedback. You are getting feedback every day from your actions. Some are successful, some are not. Your friends, your colleagues, your well-wishers, will give you feedback. You have to see some of the feedback may not be relevant, but you have to pick the right feedback and assimilate that feedback and get it. That's the virtuous cycle. Once you explore, experiment, build depth and breadth, and keep incorporating feedback, eventually you get really good at what you do. You can build a great successful career in this field. If you're getting started in this space, and many of you are started in this space, I have a few suggestions. Certainly, you should check out Analytics Vidya. There's plenty of really exciting and very, very useful material in Analytics Vidya. I think you should, I'm sure you're already using it, but you should continue. Especially the one hot area within the AI and machine learning area is this whole area called deep learning. If you heard nothing else in this talk, just remember that deep learning is really game changing. And if you want to be a data scientist, one of the career tracks you mentioned, you must certainly invest in learning deep learning ASAP. Um, and I put a few resources that made this very, very important and interesting for you. On the top left, we have this Mike Nielsen Neural Networks course. It's a full book. It's free. It's a full free book online. Please take advantage of that. There's a Stanford University course called CS231N, whose lectures are available on YouTube. You must check it out. It's got some amazing things on image recognition. The book on artificial intelligence, a modern approach, is the most popular book on AI in the 20th and 21st century. It's one of the most referenced books in the history of scientific literature. So you must check it out. It's actually, there's a very, very inexpensive Indian edition available. You must buy it and read it. It's a very good book. It's an AI production. It doesn't have much of deep learning, but it has a lot of machine learning and reinforcement learning and stuff like that, which you might find very, very useful. Then certainly, there's a book called Elements of Statistical Learning. That's again a useful book. There are a number of courses on Coursera, edX, and other platforms. Make sure you use them. I've put two of them. Jeffrey Hinton, he is one of the godfathers of deep learning and neural networks. His course is still very, very useful. Andrew Ng, again, a celebrated researcher in the space. He has a machine learning course. TensorFlow is a software package created by Google, very easy to use. You can use that. There are others like Torch and Piano, which may also be useful. And Kaggle is a place where you can again, get a lot of data and work on some problems. My suggestion to you also is go read as you advance in your thinking. Just go and read a bunch of different papers that are being written. Deep learning is seeing an explosion in the number of papers being written. Go read those papers. They have lots of useful information there. They'll have pseudocode and other or maybe even code there. You can take some of the code, implement it to your system, and make sure that you replicate that because it's very useful. And you'll learn a lot of it. But these are the ways you can get started on AI, especially if you're a public data science. That's all I have for you guys. Feel free to go and ask me something.
Thanks, Srikanth. Thanks for conducting such an outstanding webinar. We have Kunal here in the session.
Yeah. Sure. Hi, Srikanth, and hi, everyone. So I joined a few minutes late because of some personal emergency. Thanks a lot, Srikanth, for taking that session. As always, very insightful, some real learnings and applications. There is a lot of noise coming from the background. Is it only at my end? Yeah, sorry. Am I audible clearly to people? Okay. Yeah. So, Srikanth, thanks a lot for all the community members. Srikanth has been, one of the people who has always kind of supported Analytics Vidya, has been there for for mentorship, and I think there is a lot to learn from him. So I'll just jump to Q&A. A couple of questions are already there, so I'll just kind of start with the questions. So, Srikanth, this is a question from one of the community members, which has come across a couple of times, and then I'll just read it out. Hi, Srikanth. Thank you for so much for addressing us and sharing real-world examples of AI and deep learning. My question is how Government of India are adopting this technology, be it in railway infrastructure or defense, and if they are using it, what are the results and changes it is making in a day-to-day efficiency of government bodies? I think,
Okay, sorry. Thanks, Kunal, for unmuting me. I have had the privilege of being associated with some of these initiatives within the Indian government, and I can tell you that the Indian government is beginning to think of it very seriously. There are a number of different departments within the Indian government that have either expressed a deep interest in exploring this or have already started doing some of that stuff. There is a lot to be done there. There's very little that is already in place. And even the basic stuff, you don't need AI and deep learning to make a big difference to what is happening right now. Even very basic analytics would be extremely crucial, whether it is to collect more taxes, or it is to predict monsoon better, or it is um, to make sure that we go after the bad guys of demonetization, or, or whether it is a number of different initiatives, improve the quality of service to the citizens. And I think there's so many applications where Indian government could leverage more analytics. The good news is that everybody has woken up. Everybody is taking baby steps, but when you know that people are woken up and they're beginning to act, we will start to see some very exciting results. So, nothing more than that to report for now. That I can reveal in this forum, but certainly I can tell you that there is some excitement and there is some real progress on the government of India beginning to use, and there are certainly other governments across the world have done a lot, and therefore it's also leading the way in terms of how Indian government will eventually manage. I really can't speak for the Indian government because I really don't have that place of position, but I do know that there is an active interest in departments around.
Thanks, Srikanth, for that answer. And then I hope that we'll kind of see these actions and results coming out from these initiatives in future. The next question is actually another interesting one. This question, so the person is asking that what can we do as a community to make a product-centric ecosystem for AI in India? So what are some of the things which can be done as a community to kind of promote a product-centric culture, especially in AI in India?
Look, I think it is clear that entrepreneurs will make their own decisions in terms of what kind of businesses they will start. And I don't think any community or anybody can. So people will find the economics and will make the decision in terms of what works best for them and what kind of company they start with. Services company, product company, a bit of both or anything. It could be anything, right? Uh, what I can say for sure is that, especially in the world of AI, there are a number of different applications uh, which we can call as narrow AI. Essentially, these are AI for specific problems, which are relevant. And India has huge number of those kinds of applications. A lot of greenfield as far as AI application in India is concerned. So I think there are opportunities available for Indian entrepreneurs or global entrepreneurs to build narrow AI products. Having said that, what the community can do is essentially the most important raw material for any AI is data. If we can curate data, if we have lots of curated data sources or just big data sources available, I think it will make a big difference. Because today most problems can be solved. I mean, AI has become, especially the thinking on AI is such that if we have a good enough data source, I can know how to learn from that and make better decisions. So I think data is one of the biggest constraints. Really good, well organized and easy to use data source is even better. So I think curating data is one thing I can say. The second most important raw material for AI is quality of data. I believe that deep learning is a linear regression of 2018. It's really getting that common. So everybody should know what deep learning is. So one way the community can help is everybody should learn deep learning, and we should make sure that everybody is sufficiently trained on deep learning. And that will once we have enough talent and enough data, we certainly have enough ideas to build solutions. And then those solutions, if the data is available, I think those solutions will eventually turn out to be solutions and products as opposed to services.
Sure. Thanks, Srikanth. The next question is from Akash, and he's asking which domains or products do you see reinforcement learning making the earliest impact on a commercial scale or at a large scale?
So we saw an example. The examples were, for example, I mean, let's look at the great examples of reinforcement learning right now are in gameplay. That's where we've seen some amazing results. For example, deep reinforcement learning was what was used by AlphaGo. to defeat Lee Sedol in the game of Go last year. That's a great example. Before that, they used it to play Atari games. But think of where reinforcement learning makes a lot of sense. Reinforcement learning makes a lot of sense when we don't have a lot of training data, and we're getting sort of a noisy feedback from the system. We take some actions, we get a little bit of feedback, but it's not a labeled data. We don't have X's and Y's, but we have a little bit of information. We start acting, we learn a little bit from feedback that's coming in, and we get better. The most important such applications in the areas of robotics. Right? I mean, if you're a robot and you have to navigate sort of uncertain world and move around in an uncertain world, get up and talk, walk and navigate a certain terrain, you would need some kind of reinforcement learning system. That's the best. That's one area which will be highly commercially viable, and that's the place where we'll see AI making a lot of progress too, because that's uh, it's getting ready for prime time. But there are a number of other cases. I mean, reinforcement learning is just one of the techniques, and most cases, deep reinforcement learning has a lot of potential. It can be used in a number of different situations. Even if you have a lot of training data, but still you might want to respond in real time and adapt and evolve. I think that those kinds of applications also will require reinforcement learning or deep reinforcement.
Sure. Thanks again, Srikanth. Uh, so there are a couple of questions on different domains. So two specific domains where I can see multiple questions. One of them is, how is AI being used in agriculture, and second is manufacturing. So if you can throw any lights on some use cases on any of these two domains, that should be great.
Sure. Is my slide deck still visible?
Yes. Srikanth.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to give you one of the examples I skipped is something I can walk you through. This is the example of manufacturing. Think of a gearbox that has many sensors generating tremendous number of data points every minute in terms of pressure, temperature, all kinds of other readings of the gearbox. So, and can we predict its breakdown? Right? And can it really throw an alert that it may fail soon? Actually, we've done that recently, where essentially we had 130 million data points over a 6-month period, 6 to 7 month period, and using that, we created two anomaly scores, because this is an unsupervised learning problem. It's a very interesting problem because there is no labeling there. We just have raw data, and we have to see what is unusual. And we created two anomaly scores over two different windows, and then use that to trigger what would be unusual activity and a potential prediction of failure. And what we realized is that this was bang on target. When we actually said it will fail, it precisely failed at the same time. So it's a great example where in manufacturing and supply chain, in a number of different areas, we see the use of AI in very big way. Manufacturing is going to be one of the biggest users of AI. Now, because they have, whether it is smart plant, smart machines, or smart supply chain, in all these areas, you will need tremendous amount of AI to help drive operational efficiency, make better decisions, and even change the human machine balance and in those areas. In case of agriculture, now again, highly, I'm not very well equipped to understand that space very well. So let me just leave it at that. I don't really know, but I can tell you that there are dozens of examples there, but nothing that I'm very well aware of. So just see that from Google.
Sure. Thanks, Srikanth, for that. There are a few career questions, so because we have only a few minutes left, I'll kind of take them next. So the first one is from a person who has spent 10 years in IT industry with little exposure in analytics and data science space. What would be your advice if they want to come into industry? What kind of career path or what kind of progression would you kind of suggest to them?
So I think, just going to my career grid here, and the people who have come from the technology world can fit in nicely on the right half of this career grid, on the right panel, BI program management, big data. If you're really solidly technical in orientation, and you can get you can scale, you if you have a really serious engineering bent of mind, then you can go to the big data engineering side, which is a very promising area. There's tremendous shortage of people, and technologies and technology stack is continuously evolving. So there is a lot of room for great talent, especially from the technology world. If you have come more from the, let's say, if you've been a business analyst or someone who sort of bridges between the developers and the client, and then I think you might be able to do more of the BI program management, where you understand what clients really need, make sure that you program manage that and simplify visual consumption of the results, so on. So that's a place that you can play as well. We have a number of people who have come from the BI program management track, who come in the IT world into the BI program management track. They've been very successful. Um, and a few have come from the big data engineering track. That would be my summary advice. Depending on how willing you are, you could potentially play anywhere in the career field. You could just go and spend like 3 months or 6 months going through all the resources that I have pointed out in this slide. You can try a few of these, and, if you're really good at math, uh, I think, and you find some of these things relatively easy to master, uh, and don't blame yourself if you can't understand in the first week or two. But if after spending a month or two you still feel like, okay, this is not your area of expertise, then don't be a data scientist, because that's going to be very hard. But I think the other career tracks are still open.
Sure. Thanks, Srikanth. And I think the last question for the webinar. So, what is your view on master's education? So, should people kind of go for the MSc or a master's in data science, or I mean, so for a fresher who is just coming out of an engineering background, would you recommend them to go for a master's dedicated in data science, or kind of look for jobs, or how do they go about building their career?
The answer will depend on how good you are at this point of time, and whether how much you think you can learn by yourself. Like if that's number one dimension. The second dimension is the quality of the program that is an offer. I would generally not recommend you to pick any program and just go and spend your precious time and learn little or nothing. That would not make sense. So if it's a really, really good program, it may be worth it. And if you're really new, and you feel that your previous education hasn't prepared you enough to go conquer this, then also it makes sense to do another program. But my general suggestion is the resources I've pointed out in the previous slides. Just go take a look at some of them and see if you can. If all of this makes sense and you feel like, okay, I can do this, I can understand this, it's all coming naturally to me, then probably you don't need more education. You probably need more experience. So you just start working somewhere and keep doing this. And remember, there's no shortcut to hard work. And just being in a role in an organization and just doing what they tell you to do from 9 to 5 is not going to be enough. You have to do the 5 to 9 as well, and you have to learn new stuff. Especially if you want to be really relevant in a space that's exploding, where the half-life of knowledge is decreasing every year. In such an industry, you've got to make sure that you're relevant. So just keep learning new stuff.
Sure. Thanks, Srikanth. And just one last, I think, question which has come up from a couple of people who are asking that are there any projects, or what would be the ways for them to kind of, uh, you know, part join Fractal, for them to join Fractal? So are there any opportunities or projects, or are there any specific roles which they can kind of apply for? So right now, anything you can share on the current projects or any opportunities? That's something.
Right. We are certainly hiring in pretty big numbers as we speak. So at the same time, I will also be clarify that we are extremely selective in who we hire, and therefore it may be it's painstaking, but practice is also a place where you can learn a lot and we can make a thorough analytics professional out of anyone. But we are also a little bit fussy in terms of who we bring on board. So I still my suggestion is do write to us. We hire a lot. We are hiring in big numbers as we speak. We have big recruitment drives in various parts of the world, even as late as last week. So it's a good time, but but I also to tell you that we have more than 50,000 resumes in the last 1 year. So we are really handling some really large data, on the hiring front. So just bear with us if that happens. Just feel free to write to us on projects.
Sure, sure. Thanks a lot, Srikanth, for that wonderful session. All of us got a glimpse of how AI is changing the world, and then how we can use that to shape our careers and kind of still stay relevant and learn new things in industry. So thanks a lot. It's always inspiring to kind of hear you and learn from you, and then I'm sure that the community would have enjoyed it as well. So thanks a lot. Uh, for the community members, so there are a couple of announcements which we wanted to make, especially given that Data Fest is coming to a close. So there are a couple of new initiatives which we wanted to announce as part of this Data Fest. I'll quickly go there. But before we that, just a quick recap on how Data Fest has panned out. So we got more than 10,000 data scientists competing in data hack. We saw people coming for various competitions. We got real life problems from across the globe. So I hope that you would have enjoyed Data Fest 2017. There are competitions coming up over the weekend as well. So make sure that comes. But two new initiatives which we wanted to announce as part of today's session. The first one is a summit which would happen later this year in Bangalore. So if you are in or around Bangalore, we are coming to Bangalore with a huge data hack summit. The summit is aimed to kind of define the cutting edge of analytics and data science. So if you are a data scientist, or if you want to network with people in analytics and data science, we hope to create that environment. We hope to provide that opportunities. So we'll provide more details as things start to flow out. But I wanted to take this opportunity to announce this to the community. The summit would happen over 3 days. There would be workshops, there would be talks from industry experts, there would be tracks on startups, and obviously there would be much more presentations. So you will see more details coming out shortly. So that was one important announcement. So look out for Data Hack Summit 2017. The second announcement which we wanted to make was around starting data hack camps. So again, later this year, we would start data hack camps, which are basically boots camp style learning with industry and with mentors. So what we'll do is basically provide you problems and opportunity to learn. So these would be real life problems. So the focus would not be on a tool or technique, but how to kind of solve problems and learn by solving problems. there would be mentorship from various industry experts as part of these boot camps. So these would be very intensive, low volume, but highly industry relevant boot camps. And then the idea is to kind of make more and more people industry ready. So these would be starting later this year as well. And the vision which we have is to kind of create a new breed of data scientists in India, where I actually see that there is a huge gap in industry today. So hopefully we'll make many more data scientists who can then in turn train more data scientists in the future. So those were the two key announcements which we wanted to make. Hope you like them. As I said, keep following us, and we can take it forward. So if you have any questions related to Data Hack Camps or Data Hack Summit, we would feel free to reach out to us. We would provide more details closer to the dates. We'll start rolling out details as we finalize them. But really excited to have these events in the coming year, and then we hope to make things much more relevant and give you more and more what industry is looking for. So looking around to see you going forward, and see you on the webinars coming up. Thanks a lot.